Have you ever wondered who the people in the Bible truly were, not just their names but what they looked like and where they came from? The world of the Bible was a crossroads connecting Africa, Asia, and Europe. When we read about Ethiopians, Egyptians, or people from the ancient Middle East, what does genetics reveal about their ancestry? For centuries, art and tradition have painted a narrow, often Eurocentric image of biblical figures. This has erased the presence of countless individuals with deep African roots. Africa and the Levant were deeply interconnected by trade migration and conquest for millennia. The Bible hints at this reality, mentioning figures like the Queen of Sheba and Ebed-Melech the Ethiopian. The concept of race as we know it didn't exist in the ancient world. People identified by tribe, city, or kingdom, not skin color. The world of Abraham, Moses, and David was incredibly diverse, shaped by migration and intermingling. By exploring the genetic record, we can restore the lost colors to this ancient portrait. For many, seeing their heritage reflected in the Bible is profoundly meaningful. Modern science lets us uncover tangible evidence of African presence in the biblical narrative. This is the power of genetic storytelling to write a more accurate, inclusive, and true chapter in our collective history. The story of Black people in the Bible has often been oversimplified or ignored. Traditional interpretations filtered through a European lens have whitewashed biblical history. Art and film rarely reflect the true diversity of the ancient Near East, a region where Africa and Eurasia met and mingled. The so-called Curse of Ham was a post-biblical distortion used to justify slavery, not rooted in the original text. Overlooking the genetic and cultural diversity of the time created a distorted picture. Archaeology and genetics reveal a world not divided by modern racial lines but shaped by movement and intermarriage. Egyptians could have ancestors from Nubia or the Levant. Israelites could share markers with Ethiopians or Arabians. The Bible is not the story of one race but of many interconnected peoples. Challenging old interpretations isn't rewriting the Bible, it's reading it with fresh eyes and new evidence. The biblical world was teeming with human diversity, just like our world today. Recognizing this allows us to appreciate the Bible on a deeper level. It becomes a story that belongs to all humanity. How do we know about the genetics of people who lived thousands of years ago? The answer is in our DNA. DNA is a living history book, carrying the stories of our ancestors and their journeys. Every person inherits a unique combination of DNA, linking us to the distant past. Scientists extract ancient DNA from bones and teeth, piecing together the genetic landscape of the past. By comparing ancient and modern DNA, researchers map migrations and relationships between groups. We can trace humanity's journey out of Africa and see how groups split, adapted, and mixed. This is not speculation. It's a story told by data. For biblical studies, this is revolutionary. We can analyze the biological reality of ancient peoples. It fills gaps in the historical record, revealing hidden stories of diversity and connection. DNA gives a voice to the voiceless of history. Our cells hold the evidence of a shared, interconnected past. To trace deep ancestry, scientists focus on the Y-chromosome and mitochondrial DNA, mtDNA. The Y-chromosome passes from father to son, tracing a direct paternal line. Mitochondrial DNA is inherited from mothers by all children, tracing a direct maternal line. Both allow us to follow single ancestral lines deep into the past. Small mutations over time group people into haplogroups, major branches on the human family tree. Certain haplogroups like E1b1a are common in sub-Saharan Africa, others are found in Europe, Asia, or the Americas. Identifying haplogroups lets us map ancient migrations and origins. Studies of populations in Ethiopia, Egypt, and the Levant reveal a complex mix of African, European, and Asian haplogroups. These regions were never isolated. They were crossroads of migration and interaction. The genetic data confirms the biblical world was a place of constant movement. The branches of the human family tree met and intertwined there. The lands of the Bible, Ethiopia, Egypt, and the Levant, formed a vital bridge connecting Africa, Asia, and Europe. This region was a corridor for migration, trade, and empire, creating a diverse genetic landscape. Ethiopian DNA reveals ancient indigenous lineages and significant contributions from Arabia and the Levant. This reflects ancient trade and migration across the Red Sea. Egypt, too, was a mix. Its people linked to both the Near East and sub-Saharan Africa. The idea of a single Egyptian race is a modern fiction. Reality was a dynamic blend. The Levant, including Israel and Judah, was the ultimate crossroads, with gene flow from all directions. Populations here show ancestry from North Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, Arabia, Anatolia, and Southern Europe. The people of the biblical kingdoms were part of this complex web. They were Semitic peoples living at the intersection of continents. Their DNA reflects a rich cosmopolitan history. The biblical world was never homogeneous. Its diversity is written in the genes of its people. The Bible speaks of Ethiopia, or Cush, with respect and familiarity reflecting a deep, ancient relationship. Ethiopian DNA carries some of the oldest and most diverse lineages on Earth. The Ethiopian highlands may have been a launch point for humanity's migration out of Africa. Later, people returned, creating a blend of ancient African and Eurasian lineages. This genetic signature shows millennia of interaction across the Red Sea. The Beta Israel, Ethiopia's Jewish community, have primarily Ethiopian ancestry but also share roots with Middle Eastern Jews. This suggests ancient Jewish traditions were adopted by local populations, creating unique communities. The story of biblical Ethiopia is not one of isolation but of connection. Their DNA challenges modern racial boxes and highlights the horn of Africa's pivotal role in human history. The biblical world was more African, more connected, and more diverse than we imagined. Genetics brings this hidden legacy to light. Ancient Egypt's images and mummies have long sparked debate about the people's origins. Genetics shows Egypt was always complex, a foundational African population mixed with Near Eastern peoples. Ancient DNA from mummies reveals ties to the Levant and Anatolia, while modern Egyptians have more sub-Saharan ancestry. Egypt's Africanity is not erased, but enriched by this complexity. The 25th dynasty saw Nubian black African pharaohs rule Egypt, highlighting deep southern ties. Egypt's genetic story is one of admixture, not replacement. In the Levant, home of the Israelites, the story is similar. Trade and migration brought gene flow from Egypt and beyond. The population of biblical lands included people with a wide range of ancestries, including African heritage. The Bible is not about racial purity, but about a people forged in a melting pot of cultures and genes. The ancient world was a crossroads, not a closed society. Its diversity shaped the stories we read today. For generations, many black people have felt disconnected from biblical representations that depict every hero as white. Genetic science is more than a research tool. It's a means of empowerment and reclamation. Revealing the true diversity of the biblical world challenges exclusionary narratives. The Bible is also part of black history, biologically and culturally. This isn't about claiming everyone in the Bible was black, but about embracing a more accurate, inclusive truth. The ancient Near East was a place of mixed ancestries, with Africans as integral participants. Haplogroups common in both Africa and the Near East testify to this shared heritage. Scientific data provides tangible proof of these connections, reshaping identity and belonging. Learning your DNA links to the biblical world can be deeply affirming. The Bible becomes a personal ancestral story, not a distant one. Genetic storytelling helps us build a more complete, honest narrative for all. Exploring the genetics of the biblical world leads to a powerful truth. Humanity's story is one of connection, not separation. Racial categories and borders are modern inventions that obscure our shared origins. The Bible, seen through genetics, is the story of a dynamic, interconnected world. Africa and the Near East were part of a single human neighborhood. This legacy is written in our DNA, encouraging a more inclusive view of Scripture. Ethiopians, Egyptians, and others with African ancestry were a normal part of the biblical world. Acknowledging this enriches our understanding and makes the Bible's lessons more resonant. Ancient DNA research is still young, and each discovery adds to the story. This is a dialogue between science, faith, and identity. Tracing our roots to this ancient crossroads is hopeful. It reminds us we are all part of one family tree. The story of black people in the Bible is a vital chapter in the human epic. Our DNA tells us we are connected. It's up to us to live that truth.